Good morning and welcome to Weekends with Whitney. All right, we're getting a little wild this morning. Watch this. Very good. Too crazy. We're going there. Stay with us. Also in today's show, the world's top tennis players are competing in Baton Rouge this week. But these athletes do it on wheels. How they've overcome tremendous obstacles and risen to be the best in the world. Then Dr. Nick shares how all of us can overcome our own obstacles, whatever they may be. Plus, flower gardens are all abloom right now. But I'll show you a garden of a different kind, a book garden, with our favorite flower child, Daisy, sowing the seeds of learning, imagination, and love of reading. But we begin with what it takes to be the world's best, whether you're a paraplegic or even a quadriplegic.
Such a strange situation, stopping every 100 miles, calling Baton Rouge.
Stéphane Houdet of France is #1 in the world. Jourdain Wiley of the United Kingdom, #4. David Wagner from here in the U.S. is #2. They're the best athletes you've probably never heard of until now.
To us, what we're doing is normal and natural, and it may inspire or motivate somebody to go try tennis or try a sport or try something, and that's awesome. But that's not the main focus of what we're doing. We're just doing what everyday person would want to do with their life.
David and 120 other players are competing in the 27th Cajun Classic Wheelchair Tennis Tournament at the Manship YMCA. The majority are paraplegic, paralyzed from the waist down, but about 30% are quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck, or in David's case, mid-chest down.
I've got real limited function in my hands, so I can't open my hands all the way. Either hand doesn't open all the way, and I can't really close them all the way, so my grip is real limited. So I have to use an athletic tape to hold the racket to my hand, so I tape the racket to my hand. And then I'm paralyzed from about mid-chest all the way down to my toes. So I can't move any part of my stomach muscles, my back muscles.
Nonetheless, on the court, he moves like a champion. His first pro tournament was 15 years ago, right here in Baton Rouge. He's gone on to become the most successful quad singles player this century. He's a 3-time gold medalist in the Paralympic Games in Athens, Beijing, and London. He holds 15 Grand Slam titles, 5 of those at the U.S. Open. He has big-name sponsors like Nike and Head. And yet, he's played in every Cajun Classic since his first. The U.S. Tennis Association's Emily Sanders says all the top players want to play in Baton Rouge.
Really one of the best ITF tournaments in the world, honestly. We love the Cajun Classic.
Everything here is a labor of love.
It takes a lot of hard work. I mean, you have to, like I said earlier, you dedicate your life to something that you love. And it doesn't feel like work, but it is work, you know. I mean, I'm really fortunate to call a tennis court my office.
He never envisioned such an office as a college student, even though he did walk onto the tennis team after his freshman year and got a scholarship. But a year and a half later, he suffered a terrible accident. While at the beach with friends, an ocean wave crashed his world.
And we were just throwing a Frisbee out in the water, and as I jumped over to retrieve the Frisbee, the wave hit my leg, and it jackknifed my body and just slammed my head right into the ocean floor, and I snapped my neck, and instantly became paralyzed.
He'd never been so helpless. Did you ever have a pity party for yourself?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, it's not all roses, you know, by any means. You know, you're relearning how to do things you already knew how to do. But it wasn't like I never turned to like heavy drinking or drugs or anything like that to solve the problem. I just had really good family and friend support, and so I could use them as my crutch, so to speak, you know, or my chair, so to speak, to like help me deal with the loss of my ability to becoming disabled.
4 years later, his girlfriend got him back on a tennis court.
I know how to hold the racket kept falling out of my hand, and I was like, there is no way a quadriplegic plays wheelchair tennis. No possible way.
But he gave it one more try at a wheelchair tennis camp, led fortunately by 3 of the pioneers in the sport.
You know, then I decided, well, this looks like a really fun thing to do, so I'm going to go and push forward. And I finished school in 2000. I graduated with an elementary education degree. And then I had to choose, do I go play professional wheelchair tennis or do I become a teacher? And I chose tennis, and I haven't looked back since.
With a great tennis brain, technique, and a competitive nature, Dave skyrocketed to tennis's upper tier.
It probably was at least 2 or 3 years before I got a first top 10 win over somebody. And once I did, then the itch and the bug just became even more, right? It's like, man, I can't not do this because it's so much fun. So, you know, I think within 3 years, I got into the top 3 in the world.
It looks like he'll make it back to the Paralympic Games this fall in Rio, and he could very well win his 4th gold medal. And even though he's 42, he has no plans of slowing down.
But I love training, and I love just being the best that I can personally be. So as long as I can continue to do that, I'm going to continue to play. So you love what you do, and so you devote your life to it. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's tennis, golfing, sport, dancing, drama. It doesn't matter what it is. You spend your life doing it, and if you love it, it'll show.
Dave has shown younger players they can do it too, like 15-year-old Connor Stroud, who doctors said at birth would never walk. He has PFFD.
And that stands for proximal focal femur deficiency. So I was born without a femur.
He also doesn't have hip joints or kneecaps. But when he was 2, his mom Rita says they opted for a new surgery that would give him a small chance of walking one day.
When he had surgery, they did an amputation on the front part of his feet, and so he actually balances on his little heels, and so that makes a lot better base for him to walk with his blades. You know, he has the blades now, and you know, it works better, but still there's no hip joint there, so it's very difficult for him to walk.
Connor wanted not only to walk, but play tennis.
I started playing about 5 or 6 because my parents owned a tennis club, so I started playing pretty young.
Connor wasn't playing in a wheelchair back then, he was standing. Quickly, he wanted to compete.
My husband played tournaments, and he always wanted to play. We would hit, and I would say, "No, Connor, that's going to be really hard." And so his first tournament, he kept wanting to do a tournament, and I wouldn't let him.
So Connor signed himself up online.
So I said, "Okay, you can go, and I'll let him see how hard it is." Well, he won, so he was hooked.
Well, I played tournaments when I was like 8 and 10 and 12. And then when I turned 13, which was like, 2 years ago, I had to move up to the 14 division, and that's when, people could place the ball really good. So I thought that I could try wheelchair tennis, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it.
When we went to the first clinic, a Paralympian, Karen Korb, was doing the clinic, and I knew he was a good little player, and he went out on the court and he was hitting, and she was like, oh, she was just going crazy. She said he's going to be playing at the World Cup, and I thought, this lady is crazy.
He shot right to the top. Connor is the #1 junior wheelchair tennis player in the U.S. He's one of the top 10 in the world, and last summer, he made the World Cup team. He is seeing the world.
I've been to Turkey, Mexico, Netherlands, Ireland, and then I'm planning to go to Canada. We get to go to Tokyo in May.
Oh, you have so much to look forward to, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how you have time for school. It's wheels up for all these world-class tennis players and the sport itself. You can see these amazing athletes in action today. The finals start around 10 o'clock at the Manship YMCA right on Perkins Road. It's all free, and they would love to see you there. And still to come, we go wild at the zoo. I'll take you behind the scenes to show you what life is really like in this animal kingdom. Then Dr. Nick gives us tools to face any challenge that comes our way. As Weekends with Whitney continues.
Maggio, the only way to go. Maggio Buick GMC, your satisfaction's our specialty. We really deliver on Falls River, here in New Roads. Small town atmosphere, legendary service for over 60 years. Maggio, the only way to go. The only way to go, that's Maggio.
The new year is a perfect time to make your money work hard for you. Hi, I'm Ian James, financial advisor and president of Capital Financial Group. Like millions of Americans, you're likely paying higher taxes and higher fees than you probably should. With 20 years of industry experience, I have a proven plan to analyze your investments and reduce hidden costs and fees. You work hard for your money. It's time to let your money work hard for you. Call me, Ian James, for a free, no obligation portfolio review and a brighter financial future.
Go Roof is proud to serve the Baton Rouge and surrounding areas with our years of experience and quality service. We want more than just your roofing needs. Go Roof cares about the client and wants you to be our customer for life. Roof replacement, repair, vents, and more. Go Roof will get it done. We have excellent standing relationships with all the top insurance companies, so making your claim is fast and easy. A beautiful roof every single time at Go Roof. Call now for a free estimate.
And welcome back to Weekends with Whitney. All right, things are gonna get wild a little bit this morning. The giraffes are one of my favorite at the zoo. I mean, they're just so beautiful and sleek, and perhaps their vegetarian diet has something to do with that. They love lettuce, more than I love lettuce, but oh boy, but we can share. Did you see that 18-inch tongue? I'm sorry, Rowan here is getting just a little upset with me. Okay, it's time, ready? He got the bigger piece. Fun. Adventure. And excitement awaits you too at the Baton Rouge Zoo. Zoo General Curator Sam Winslow says, especially this time of year.
This is our springtime when we try and get a lot of new animal shipments in while the weather's nice for us before it gets too hot and not doing the cold. So we've got a lot of antelope coming in. We've got some new bongo, Nile letchweed, Thompson's gazelles. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up for people to look for.
Like this new stork.
We've got another one coming in about 2 weeks that'll be a mate for that one. So hopefully we'll be breeding those storks here.
Yeah, we hear of storks bringing babies, but these storks may be having babies.
We hope so, yeah.
Zookeeper Amy Hewitt gets to go wild every day.
It's thrilling. It's a great job for someone who loves to work with animals. It's dirty, difficult, challenging, heartbreaking, and wonderful all in the same day a lot of times.
Heartbreaking at times in the circle of life.
We lose things periodically of natural causes. It happens, particularly of old age, but I find comfort in knowing that they're old because we help them get there.
Sometimes the very young die too, like this week. A baby golden lion tamarin, just 5 days old, died unexpectedly. The loss was magnified because they're endangered. Less than 1,000 now live in the wild.
By all indications, Mom was taking good care of it, and usually after 48 hours, usually have a good luck for success, so there's something else going on.
Does that happen very often?
Particularly with younger mothers, they might lose their first couple of offspring, but usually they get more experience, especially with primates, that so much of their behavior is learned. So, with going through this experience will help her next go around.
These animals become like extended family. It was traumatic when Judy, an elephant here for almost 40 years, died 2 years ago.
It's great sadness. Some people that worked with them still work here, and I know it leaves a hole for them, a great hole. And of course, they're sad to miss the one we lost, Judy. But Bosie's in a great place now, and I think they're grateful for that. But sadness to this day, of course.
When Judy died, Bosie was alone. Because elephants need each other, she was moved to the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. to live in its new $56 million state-of-the-art habitat.
And our facility was very old. It was too small to really hold elephants. They want you to be able to keep 3 or more in one facility, and ours was too small to do that.
Sam and anyone else can see how Bosie and her friends are doing 24/7 on their live elephant cam. This is the quality elephant habitat Baton Rouge Zoo would like to build. But the million-dollar question is where? Here, or move the zoo to a busier and more traveled part of Baton Rouge.
we're still looking at the best future for the zoo. And you know we need to put a lot of money into our infrastructure. I mean, you might see the stuff above the ground, but we have a lot of stuff underground too that needs to be upgraded too. So it's going to take a lot of money. So right now we're looking at, is that here? Or do we spend the money here? Or do we spend it somewhere else?
Yeah. Will you have any voice in that matter?
No. And don't want any.
The Breck Commission will make the final decision in the coming months. But coming up in 2 weeks, the zoo's big 46th birthday bash, Zippity Zoo Fest.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day.
It's a kind of a celebration of our anniversary of the zoo, so we have a lot of special events out here. We do keeper chats as well as different bands and activities for the people to enjoy.
More than 250,000 people visit the zoo every year. It's #1 for family fun. So join in and just zoo it.
Hakuna Matata.
If you're up for an adventure, they have all kinds of camps and activities throughout the year for adults and children. It's not just during the summer. There's safari nights, twilight tours, Zoo and Me mornings. They'll even bring the zoo to you. All you have to do is go to brourzoo.org for all the information. And still to come, sowing the seeds of love and imagination with a daisy like no other. And Dr. Nick shows us how to overcome obstacles and conquer our fears as Weekends with Whitney continues.
In a world filled with TV and video games, children are losing their thirst for learning and adventure. On February 27th, that all changes. Summer camp is back, and Breck is the place to be. Recreation, theater, animals, nature, art. At Breck, adventure is just around the corner. Register for Breck Summer Camp, February 27th at breck.org, and give your child a summer they will never forget.
Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful and exhausting, unless you choose me. I'm Regina Roselle with KDK Realty. Don't just trust your largest asset to anyone. Go with success. I've sold hundreds of homes over the last 10 years, and I can get you top dollar for your home, as well as get you the best price on your new one. Email me at buywithregina@gmail.com. I'll do all the work. All you have to do is pack. Let's get moving together.
What makes some people just grab a challenge and meet it head on, and other people wither? Dr. Nick joins us this morning with more. Good to see you.
And major challenges.
Oh, let's talk about the story earlier on the wheelchair tennis people and quadriplegics out there, not just people who are, paralyzed from the waist down, but other limbs. It's just remarkable to me.
What did it do to you after you did the story?
It made me feel like I think that my challenges are minuscule. And I felt guilty that
Did you?
I think sometimes my challenges seem so big when look what they've done.
Yeah. I don't tend too much to think, although I do take a little bit of the guilt, but what I find is just so inspiring, Whitney, and I bet you do too. It's inspiring in again the human spirit, the resilience, the perseverance. Whenever I get into self-pity, which I might say they're not in.
Right,
Did you
they're
notice?
not.
There's no self-pity.
None.
There's no wallowing. There's no poor me. There's no why was I handed this deck.
It's amazing.
It really is.
Where does that come from?
It's just the I don't know if it comes from the fact that they're into survival mode, as well as I want to make this work, or if it's just I'm going to show you.
Sure.
I'm going to show you, which again is also kind of inspiring. I was just thinking of how I love to watch certain videos of the guy that plays the piano with his feet, and of the woman that flies the airplane with no arms. And I was fascinated with the story you did on the wheelchair, and I'm just it's almost as if remember Stevie Wonder was blind, and look what he did.
Right.
It's something about that disability that pushes the other abilities
to
or
the
other
forefront.
gifts to the forefront. Yes.
Do they find a piece of themselves that they never knew was there, or may never have known was there?
Good question, and I would call those hidden gems that we just don't know what we're capable of until we have to meet with adversity or major hurdles. But I'm also guessing, Whitney, that these people had incredible mentors and coaches and people that loved them unconditionally and that pushed them. I don't know that it'd be interesting to know that, you know, how much of a vacuum this happens in, because I don't think it is a vacuum. Look at Helen Keller. I mean, the greatest story of all. You know, and we're constantly reminded of how could someone do it. But again, they're inspirational to me. That's why I think they're so important for us to focus on them.
I do too.
They're
Well,
so inspirational because you and I are privileged. Let's face it. Of course, we've all got our disabilities.
Sure.
But we don't have major physical disabilities that we're talking about, with blindness and with quadriplegic and no arms. And
You know, that's one reason why I did that story, is that I think every day we all confront something that we're struggling with, or we're battling, or we're trying to overcome. And I hope that people take away from that, wow, if they can do that, I can do anything.
Yes.
And if the whole world thought, I can do anything,
yes.
what a different world it would be.
It's what's so ironic about it is that, you know, we all have to face our limitations, but then we're always pushing. We're always pushing those limitations, almost like the terrible twos. we're pushing the boundaries, because that's what, again, the human spirit and the human resilience and the human creativity and perseverance, these are all higher brain functions. They are. Survival is that kind of, if you will, lower brain function, primal, you know, but it's not, somehow they get beyond the fear. They get beyond the fear of failure, the fear of, oh, again, poor me, or I'm going to have a miserable life. It's just so, I keep using the word inspiring, because that's what it is. And the world needs that kind of inspiration.
It does. But how do we all become more like that?
I think we do it by, again, focusing on the people that are doing it and being reminded that, you know, I don't have to wallow in my pity. You know, and again, maybe they do for a little bit, but I doubt seriously that it's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a drive to push. I was watching very quickly this morning. There was something on Facebook about a race, and the one, I think I told you earlier, the woman fell. One of the women fell at the last, got up, and not only got up, but actually won the race. Now, again, it's a little bit different. That's probably more about adrenaline flow. But aren't you? Doesn't it just inspire you that she got up?
Right. That she got
up.
And then
that she said,
won.
I'm not done. I'm not going to let embarrassment or humiliation take me down. I'm not going to clock out. Yeah. I'm going to run this race, which is really one of the great, you know, Pauline scriptures, is run that race. Run that race, and whether you win or lose, you run it and say, I ran it to the best of my ability.
And if she had not gotten up, she would never even have a chance to run it.
Never had a chance. And I think, talk about regret.
True.
Talk about regret.
True.
You know.
So may we all today and this week and hopefully all year run that race.
Run that race with all our disabilities and with all our abilities, and also to be mindful, particularly to be mindful of those that have less and yet continue to do more. Right. It's amazing.
It is. May it
amazing.
Inspire us all.
It may inspire us all. Good to see you, Whitney.
Great to see you too.
And we'll be right back with more. I've always wanted to say that.
I'll let you.
And we'll be right back with more of Weekends with Whitney.
Hi, I'm Drew Detlitz, and welcome to Camp Bow Wow.
We are Baton Rouge's premier doggy day camp, daycare, and behavioral training facility. Spanning over 14,000 square feet, your dog has plenty of room to play. We have covered yards that'll protect your dog from the sun and rain. We have a state-of-the-art HD monitoring system so you can watch your dog throughout the day. And don't forget, we also offer luxury suites.
So, stop in for a tour today and schedule your interview and get your first day free. This is Camp Bow Wow, where a dog can truly be a dog.
Spread your wings and fly away with me. We can go where.
Visit Stabs, the Little Village in Shucks, where the experience exceeds your expectations.
Thanks for spending part of this Palm Sunday with me here on Weekends with Whitney. And if you'd like to join me and help plant a garden today, I'd love it. And this one does not involve any dirt. No, we can help grow Daisy's book garden together. Daisy is the delightful, precocious little girl on my show last fall. She has a rare, life-threatening disease.
I have JDM. It means I have juvenile dermatomyositis. It means that I have autoimmune.
She spends a lot of time at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital for treatment. So she's decided to share her love of reading and passion for books with other children in the hospital by cultivating a Daisy book garden. She'd love our help by donating new or gently used children's books to her garden. The launch party is today at Barnes & Noble at Perkins Row from 11 a.m. to 7 tonight. With Daisy's book garden, she's planting the seeds of learning and imagination. And if you make it by, you can also go right down the street and drop in on the finals of the Cajun Classic Tennis Tournament at the YMCA. But however you decide to enjoy this beautiful Sunday, I hope it's a wonderful one, and hope to see you back here again next Sunday. Until then, we leave you with some of our really fun friends in the animal kingdom.